good slide job in 1 and 2, but Dietz will cross him back down the back straightaway. Dietz returns the favor, coming to the stripe. It's going to be Dietz, your leader.
That slow pace all the way to the barrel. Couple of late model veterans. Green flag is out. We're racing. And 3 wide off of 2 down the backstretch. Josh Dietz to the lead from 4th.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Race fans, YouTubers, all that good stuff. We're here, Slingin Dirt Media. I'm DJ Smallwood. This is Josh Dietz. Josh, man, thanks for taking time to have us here in the shop.
Yeah, nice to be on here.
Yeah, so what are you looking forward to the most for this season coming up? I mean, it's January. We're dead in the middle of race season, or off season. It's time to get these things cranked up, man.
Yeah.
You got a long way to go.
We're not too bad. Last year at the end of the year, we hit on some stuff that really made our program a lot better. So we started the year a little bit slow, so I'm just happy to hopefully start where we left off last season.
Right, up front.
Yeah.
You had some good battles with Kramer. I mean, there's a few good shows you guys were up front mixing it up.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's about when we figured it out. It was Florence for that 1,500 to win show, and we were good that day. I don't think we were great yet. We still had to, we were racing pretty hard for that one, and then we came back. I think it was the next week and changed a few little bit of things up, and then we rolled away from that one, and that's when we knew we were really hitting on stuff because them guys are good. So
yeah.
when they have to chase you, you're on point.
Yeah. Kramer's definitely a guy that, man, he's been around the track a few times, and if anytime I think if you're mixing up with him and up front with him, you got something going on.
Him and Trent Green both. I think Trent, every race I didn't win, I think Trent won at Florence.
Right. Did anybody else win at Florence? I think Kramer. I think he did one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kramer, me, and Trent.
So where did you start racing? How old were you when you started racing?
I think I was 8.
8.
We started in go-karts. Started running at Lawrenceburg.
Okay.
In go-kart. And I did that for, we ran at Lawrenceburg for like 2 seasons, and then we started traveling with the go-karts, and we ran all the way from like South Carolina all the way to Illinois.
Okay. So which is harder to work on, go-karts or?
This stuff for sure.
This stuff for sure. Yeah,
there's a lot to this.
I've heard some stories about some go-kart stuff.
There's a lot of them guys that race at Lawrenceburg that run the late models and stuff.
Right.
I grew up racing Grant Garrison. Ben Rhodes runs a NASCAR truck. We ran with him all the time. C.J. Leary, he runs some of the USAC stuff.
Yeah. I've seen that name a couple times.
Yeah. So that's pretty much there's a lot of people that got their start there.
So you went from go-karts. What'd you do next after go-kart?
I went to legend cars, running on asphalt.
Yeah, you was doing some legend car stuff last year a little bit part-time, huh?
Yeah, that was – I only ran one race on dirt up until like last year, and then we started running some – well, it was actually 2 years ago. I ran one race on in a legend car last year. The year before that, I ran 12 or 13 of them.
Plus your crate stuff.
Plus my crate stuff, yeah. Well – I was with Ashley, and she was racing the legend car stuff, and I was going to be at the track with her one way or another. So somebody came up and said, "Hey, you want to run my car?" I may as well if I'm going to be here.
Right. So it's got wheels and a steering wheel.
Yeah, and they're actually fun to drive. I mean, they're little. You got to wheel them things, and I had a blast doing it. We won. I mean, I think I ran 12 of them, and I won like 8 of them.
Nice.
Those things are fun to drive.
So, what have you done more traveling in? The go-karts or crates, or what kind of road mileage you seen the most?
Last year, probably running the crate.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were asking me like, "Oh, you're not racing much anymore," but we were just, we weren't looking at quantity. We were kind of trying to find the quality races, and we were hitting those up instead. We went everywhere from we went to Tennessee. Indiana, way out in Indiana, like Paragon, and we went to West Virginia, Southern Kentucky, Ohio.
Yeah, so you got some road miles on last year.
Yeah, we ran like 20 something races last year. But only 3 of those races were at Florence. So,
really?
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people might be like, well, you didn't race much.
Yeah.
I didn't race much here.
Yeah, we went to Florence whenever like we were testing something. We went the first night. We were kind of testing something, and then we the 1,500 to win race, and then actually Ashley was running at Florence the next week, so we stayed and raced that one too.
Right.
So
Okay. So how is it being having a significant other it's racing too? How's that?
it's difficult. It's difficult just trying to plan races and make it fair for both of them. And
Right.
working on both cars, it's
Sure.
a lot of work just keeping one up and running,
Right.
let alone two.
Yeah.
So.
That's and I mean I can't say, and I tell people enough how much of a full-time job this is. I couldn't imagine.
Especially if you want to be good. You know?
Yeah.
Anybody can unload the
Sure.
unload the car at the track the next week from the time they loaded it up, and
Yeah.
tighten a few bolts and go out there and drive in circles.
Yeah.
But you're just in today's world, you're just not going to be competitive doing
Yeah,
that.
and I've always said there's a big difference, and some people know what I'm saying. You'll probably know what I'm saying, and it's not that I'm trying to put anybody down, but there's a big difference between people that are a race car driver and somebody who drives a race car.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a big difference. Not naming anybody, but just there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I live, eat, sleep, dream of this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
So have you
that's
done any mod stuff or any open wheel stuff, or is
No. I mean, I drove a sport mod once, a couple
Okay.
laps, and a test session at Moeller. But other than that, I've never
how'd you
been
like
in-
that?
It was okay.
Yeah. A little different.
Yeah, not as much as you think. I think they had more side bite than the crate stuff. But
Really?
A little less forward drive, but they didn't have as much motor either. So,
Right.
I never drove an A mod, and I drove Cliff's non-wing sprint car at Moeller
Okay.
in a test session.
Yeah, I was
That
expecting. I thought there was gonna be a sprint car here too, man.
Yeah, they're up
What
in the
the
other
heck?
garage. We don't have enough room down here.
So something had to give, right? Yeah. Okay. So, man, I hate to say the generic question. Well, what's your favorite track? But man, do you have a standout track that is just like, man, I love that place, and if any chance I get, I'm definitely going back. Do you have one of those?
There's a few. I mean, I love Florence.
Yeah.
I wish the shows paid more and stuff, but we went to Bloomington last year.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was a blast. I mean, that track, it had like a 3-foot tall cushion and small, and you're flying. I mean, you're running about the same gear you run at Florence there, but
Okay.
it's half the size, and you're just wide open on the
Right.
top. I mean, that track was a blast.
Fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make any laps around the old Brush Creek when it was still
No.
the D-shaped or the tri-oval or
No.
whatever it was?
No, how long ago was that?
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
It
It was a long. It seemed
I don't
like
know
it
if I
was.
was racing then.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a long time ago. Man, that was a fun track.
Yeah.
But to me anyway, I got lost on it. I
Yeah.
mean, you just never know because you're kind of like I said, you're constantly steering and diving and sweeping, and man, you never.
It was
see.
big though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because I raced on the current layout, and I mean,
Yeah.
you can see the old layout, and
Yes.
it's a good double the size of the current layout.
Yeah,
It looks like. I mean,
yeah.
it's way out there.
It was fun, man.
Yeah.
You just throw a center block down there and just sit back and steer that.
We went to it got rained out, but we were running that tour, and we went to Wythe,
Okay.
and that track. I mean, have you ever seen that track?
I haven't.
Oh, it's huge.
I think I've seen
mean,
it on TV.
it's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
It's huge. Like, I've seen West Virginia, and it makes West Virginia look.
Really?
It's about the same size of West Virginia, but
Right.
banked a lot.
Huh. That Alltech down in Florida. Man,
Yeah.
that thing seems like it's huge
Yeah.
too, man. You're driving down the straightaways and it's like you're reading a book and okay, now I'll turn.
Yeah, well, we're going to Wythe, and I started texting people about gears and trying to figure it out, and I was like, I didn't have a gear within 60 points of what we needed around there.
Yeah.
They're spitting out numbers. They're like, oh, you're about 40 points lower than what you run at like Eldora.
Wow.
So
Big difference.
yeah, I mean, they're laying their spoilers all back and taking deck height out.
Yeah.
All the stuff we work for, trying to get all the deck height we can in and get everything sealed off, and then they're trying to take all the downforce out of the cars. 'Cause
Right,
it's so
just to
big.
get that
Get
streamline.
straightaway speed. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's I don't know where it was at. I was watching the video. I seen a video today at lunchtime. And, man, they were just flat footing. I mean, not lifting. I mean, it was qualifying. It was like 2 laps straight, and like that guy never cracked the throttle one time. Like
That's what it looks like at Golden Isles every time they're testing.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It might have been Golden Isles, to be
Yeah.
honest. I don't think it was. I've been there, but I don't think it was Golden Isles. But man, it was. It reminded me. It kind of looked like Fayetteville. I don't know if it was or not, but I'm like, that's.
Yeah, I've never been there. I know a lot of
That's
guys.
pretty impressive.
A lot of guys from the Legend stuff up here go down there. and
Yeah,
race
I
them.
think they have
Yeah.
some big legend races there at Fayetteville. Vietnam. The place is a character. It's yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it seems like it rubbers up a lot. I know that's what I've kind of seen down there. It seems like racing's real good, and then you get around feature time, and it takes rubber, and they're kind of stuck on the bottom.
Right.
But it looks big.
There's a place in Ocala, Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba Raceway.
That place is D-shaped, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It's very D-shaped, and it's a little bit egg-shaped. One end is a lot tighter and more narrow than 3 and 4. 3 and 4's got a lot bigger sweep.
Kind of sounds like we're just talking about Brush Creek, like the new
a
configuration
little bit,
there.
yeah.
You get down to 3 and 4, and it's real tight. And
Yeah.
1 and 2, you're wide open through.
That Bubba place, man, it seems like it probably rubbers up a lot too. I mean, it's one of those places like I don't think it really races that well, but man, they get a lot of races there. I mean, they do a lot of different classes there. So I mean, it must be doing something right with it, So good for them.
Also helps that it's 80 degrees there and it's
Yeah, that
30
never.
here.
Yeah, that never hurts either. Jeez, I wish we could get some of that. But it's middle of January and it was 67 out, so I can't complain about that too much.
Yeah, it's not bad today.
Right.
Give it a week.
Right. Yeah, give it a week. So what's next?
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna run the crate stuff. I can't afford to run super. That's
Right.
I'd love to. I mean,
Sure.
I've ran a couple super races, but I don't know. I don't know what it would have to take somebody coming on board and really helping us to be able to afford to do that. I mean,
Or somebody who already has a super,
Yeah,
like, hey, I need a driver.
Yeah, and I just don't know. I don't know what route all this late model stuff is going to go.
Yeah,
because I just don't see it. I think that the super stuff's going to become the national tour, and everything else is going to go to a crate style
Right.
race.
Yeah, it is kind of scary when you start thinking about it. I mean, looking at just local numbers, regional numbers, and I mean, even the national numbers aren't great, but
and even the crate stuff, I can't go to Florence and run for $800. There's no point in me going. I mean, it costs more than that to go there and be competitive.
Right. I seen there was a track I went to last year, and I think they were paying their modifieds. Modifieds was only paying like $600 or $700 to win. I'm like, holy cow! I didn't realize that. I'm like, that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I know the late model stuff seems to be going that. I think that what's going to help the late model stuff is they need to start bumping up the bottom end of the purse. You see
paying throughout.
Yeah, you see all these big races, and they're like, "Oh, it's $1 million to win," and it's I don't
That's
remember
great.
what it paid to make the show. I don't know what.
150 to start kind of sucks.
Exactly. So I would rather see 1,000 to start and 10,000 to win than 25 grand to win and 500 to start.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've had ideas, and I've talked about it with a few different people, and it's like, man, I think if there was like I'm not saying a regional thing or a local thing, but man, almost your late models almost need to be. Again, I'm not the promoter or anything, but it's like, man, if you were paying $2,500 to win, $250 to start, I feel like you'd have a decent field of cars every week, But
yeah, and that's what they need. I mean, they need to have we have plenty of good late model tracks around here that they could have a series where they just, but they would have to work together. You'd have to say, well, here's our 5 tracks that we're going to, and when we have our big show each month, none of the other tracks are racing, so we can draw a car count.
And I think for the most part, some of our tracks around here, I feel like they do a pretty good job of tiptoeing around each other the best they can. I mean, it's what do you do? Nature of the beast, and when there's getting less and less cars every year, what do you do? I mean, everybody's got to make a living.
Well, you see it everywhere. I mean, everybody's just going towards the crate stuff. I mean, you go to southern Kentucky, and you're looking at Lake Cumberland used to have big super shows a lot.
Right.
And now they're going to big crate shows this year. Richmond, big crate shows. You got Rockcastle having big crate shows. I mean, they're all going towards.
I mean, that's where the racers are going to. Guys are going to go where they can afford. I mean, just like with the sport mods, B mods, whatever. You got guys that have a modified and say, well, man, I just can't afford a $30,000 modified motor anymore. Well, okay, this is a little cheaper. This will keep me around the sport a little bit longer. I'm not saying it's a perfect scenario, but
yeah, and the thing also, I mean, you go to what did Florence pay when they were running regional or when they were running weekly supers? What did it pay to win?
Oh God, what was
like
it?
1,500.
Yeah, I think so.
series that I ran a lot last year with a crate motor. You know, I have like $5,000 in that motor.
Right.
And I ran it for 3 years. It had like 2,200 laps on it.
$5,000.
And it was $5,000.
$5,000.
When I bought it, it was $5,000 without carburetor.
And you've had it for how long?
3 years. It had 2,200 laps on it when we got rebuilt, and we was going and we was racing for, you know, I think the lowest paying race in that series is $2,500 or
Right.
$3,000.
Yeah, that almost seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, so why go run? I mean, I could afford to. Well, I don't know if I could afford it, but if I could afford it, I'd be running local super shows for $1,500 to win.
Sure.
Or I can run that, and I can go run for $10,000, $20,000.
And travel and have
There's
fun.
some $50,000 crate races now, like
Really?
Virginia, Jamaica, Virginia.
Okay.
They've had one for 3 or 4 years now.
Wow.
That I think it's called Super B. I think they had a $50,000 to win crate show.
News to me, but wow. I mean, I just don't get to follow it as much. You know, but
and they get good cars. I mean, I think that
Sure.
Virginia, Tyler Bear won.
Okay.
Zach Dome ran second.
Yeah.
I can't remember who ran third. Maybe it was Kyle Hardy.
I was gonna say I see that Kyle Bronson still runs crate stuff.
Tyler Carpenter, Freddie Carpenter. Carpenter's running a crate tonight at Volusia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I mean, there's also
I know there's a lot of. I mean, down south, that's the big thing. You know, I knew we talked about Golden Isles there a little bit, and when I've been there before, and man, they'll have like twice as many.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a Lucas Oil race, and you know, you get a lot of super late models for that. But man, they have like it seems like 100 crate late models. You know.
Yeah, and they're all competitive.
Sure.
I mean, they are good cars, and people don't give them credit because I mean they're guys that Kyle Bronson did it with the Lucas Series. He wrecked his car or something, went home, grabbed his crate car, put a super motor. He said all he changed was the motor.
Yeah.
Went out and won Lucas Oil race. I mean,
was that the year he got in the back of Davenport?
I think so. It was the year that Davenport rolled his nose under.
I was there. I was there.
That was when he got in the back of him, right?
Yeah.
He rolled his nose under, and he had
I was
nowhere to
actually
go.
working the turn 4 cone.
that
night.
was that year, and then he came back the next night and won it with his crate car that he put a super motor in.
Crate car just dropped super motor on it.
Yep.
Man, that's
And
that guy's a wheel guy, though. I mean,
like, especially down there. I mean, that's his home turf.
It's his home turf. It's like almost like a Josh Rice at Florence.
Yeah, it don't really matter what you put him in. He's going to be fast.
He's going to be good. Yeah, I mean, and that kid has won about everything there, you know.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about Josh Dietz outside the race car.
Yeah.
I know you got some big stuff coming up. Well, we're trying not to talk about wedding too much, but you getting married?
Yeah, we're getting married in May.
Okay. So that's this coming May, not next May. That's
this coming May on a Sunday.
Nice.
So you don't miss racing.
Don't interfere with the races.
Yeah.
Good deal. So you guys are about set and about done for that. You guys are ready?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Got a few little more things to do, but
but you're almost there.
Yeah.
You're in the home stretch of that. Okay. So, gosh, I think we got a cheering section or the hecklers over in the corner. They're all messing with us a little bit. So, tell me a little bit more about Josh outside of race car. You do any hunting, any sports, or anything like that?
No, I've never went hunting. Wouldn't mind going hunting.
Yeah.
Used to go fishing a lot. Just racing. We race RC cars. We race big cars.
Racing.
We race,
RC cars and
Yeah.
anything that you can make go.
Working and racing, building stuff.
Yeah.
You know, everything. I can't afford to do this stuff if we didn't build a lot of it our own.
Sure.
So, we're always.
There's a lot of local guys, a lot of people that are just doing that and just experimenting and trying and doing some of their own stuff. And
yeah, we've been doing that for years. I mean, we found some speed doing stuff like that.
Right. Sometimes you don't always. I don't know. I feel like if everybody's doing the exact same thing, you can't be faster than that guy because he's doing the exact same thing you are. You know.
Yeah, and in this stuff, technology has advanced so much.
Oh yeah.
Even from the late models to the modified stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we talk about. All the elite cars and stuff, and people are, why are they so fast? I'm like, I think that's the first guy that's really applying the late model stuff.
Right.
He's caught up. The modified stuff has always been a few years behind the late model stuff.
Right.
But he's not.
He's
caught
taking
up.
what they're running
Yeah.
right now and putting it.
Yeah, and I think that's where his advantage is coming from. You know,
That
and
makes
it's all
sense.
moving that way. It doesn't matter if you're running.
Yeah.
Talking about Crown Vics earlier, it doesn't matter if you're running a Crown Vic. I'm sure it's going to be like the Hornets in a few years,
Right,
and
right.
people are going to have $3,000 Crown Vic cars,
Yeah,
$5,000 Crown Vic cars.
You know, one of the things I think you'll never get away from is people that maybe have the budget and could be running, let's say, a super late model, but they know they can't win there, so they're going to run a crate. Or guys that maybe have a budget and they could be or should be running modified, but they're not winning there, but they can do better in that. You're never. I don't think you're ever going to get away from that issue.
I talk about this a lot. Like back out where Ashley's from, they have a little bit of a steel block class out there. They run at like Portsmouth and stuff, and Atomic some, and they're like,
I think they come to Moeller too.
Yeah, and they come to Moeller, and they're like, why don't you run steel blocks? And I'm like, because those are all the guys that they can't compete in a super, but they had the money to, so they take these 850 horsepower super motors and then they put them in a steel block, and then they go run for $800.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do that? When you can...
I had it suggested one time you had a steel block guy show up for a crate race and like, well, it's just a steel block. I'm like, fine, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's probably twice the motor of what a crate is.
Yeah,
too.
I ran a couple of their races and we were actually, I think we run in the top 5 with them, but you got to qualify and you qualified 19th or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well.
People don't realize what kind of power you can still get out of a steel block. Just because it's a steel block doesn't mean it's a slouch. It's going to put out some power.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you take, when Josh Rice was running modifieds, I don't know what motor he had in that thing, but it was a Hoss, and it was steel block.
It was a Hoss. That thing was a mountain of a motor. I remember, we go back, and a guy that I used to race against, Randall Dooley, in the Super Dirts. Man, that guy always had a mountain of a motor in that thing. That thing was huge. I don't know what he had, but man, it was a stove.
Yeah, so I think that class is kind of the same. People talk about, maybe we do need something in between the crates and the supers, but I don't think that's it. Because if I had the money to put together a good steel block, I would have a good super.
Yeah, you could have a super. Yeah, I don't know that that's.
You just wouldn't be racing against the competition that you're getting in supers because nobody who has great equipment really wants to go and run for $800.
So, let me ask you this: I've had people talk about, well, you don't see a lot of the street stocks, or a lot of bombers anymore. Not around here, maybe down south.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, what if I've always thought maybe it's a good idea if you basically take a modified frame, basically modified suspension, and run a 602 or a crate motor in it, but have a full body to it. So it doesn't have the open wheels in the front end, but it still has a stock body. It's a frame. It's a chassis, but you can put whatever body you want on it. I think that might – I don't know what those guys are running out west, but, that seems like it's something that could work.
I think they're pretty similar to what they're running. That's kind of similar to what the Eldora street stocks are, right?
Yeah.
I think they're like the old Super Dirts, aren't they?
Very similar, yes.
And they're just pretty much modifieds with, they have a little bit different suspension rules, I think.
Yeah. Back when I was running them, the suspension was the big difference,
Yeah, I think they have to run like GM 4-links and stuff like that.
I remember when I was running it, it had to be a leaf spring rear end. I'm like, well, hey, that's not a bad thing.
But it's still a tubular chassis, wasn't it?
It was a tubular chassis, but it had to have a stock clip.
Yeah, so same as a modified.
Yes, same as a modified with just a leaf spring car.
Yeah.
So that was a good class. The leaf spring kind of kept everybody in I guess the equal playing field. I guess.
Yeah. When I grew up, I started going to Florence with my grandpa, and that's what got me into racing. I remember watching that class.
Yeah.
I remember somebody, I think it was in that class, climbing the pole in the infield. I can't remember. The pole fell down.
Oh, really?
The light pole, yeah.
Huh.
Can't remember when that was. I was like 4.
You were
5.
young.
Yeah. But I remember that.
Yeah.
And that was back when they ran figure 8s and all that.
Yeah. I remember all those. Yeah, we used to park next to a couple of those guys every week down there. Yeah, that was good stuff. So, before we wrap things up, who do you need to thank? What kind of support? What kind of people you need to? Hey, I need to make sure I mention these guys. These guys help me, and obviously, we're in a shop, somebody else's shop. This ain't your shop, right?
No, this is Cliff's shop.
Okay.
We came here. We're actually building him. We're building a late model right now.
Okay.
And I think we're both going to run a little bit. It's kind of our test car, I guess.
An experimental piece.
Yeah. We took it's on a budget. People
Sure.
say you can't do this on a budget. I can tell you that car's on a budget. So we brought our car over here, and I've been lucky enough to be able to bring my car and work on it here and have a lot more space than what I have. And Cliff and Web Excavating, he helps us out a lot. And then Travis Kern, he does our motor. I mean, he's a great guy. There's some people that are in racing to make money, and there's some that just love racing, and he's one of those. He just loves racing.
Yeah. I've had a conversation with him on the phone. I've had some questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's always seemed like
he's straightforward.
Yeah.
He's not gonna steer you wrong, and I couldn't afford. Like I said, I got $5,000 in that motor. He's rebuilt it. He's gave me we just got it rebuilt. He gave me a really good deal on that, and and it's not just me. He helps everybody.
Right.
And then Ethan Burgess, we've been working with him. We started working with him about halfway through last year.
Yeah.
Struggled a little bit at first, and kind of changed some stuff, and got a lot of speed out of the car.
Right.
And he's coming on board and helping us this year. So
seems like he's got a good little consulting thing
going
on there.
Yeah, he's growing too, and it's
Yeah.
great having him at the track help us. Just sometimes it's good just to have somebody else's mind.
Sure.
We sit here, and me and Dylan, we beat the same ideas off each other's heads, and we keep going around in the same circle.
Right,
and then he comes and he says, "Well, have you ever thought about doing this?" No.
Yeah.
And we try it, and maybe it doesn't work with what we have, so we change a couple other things around it, and then then we're kind of in a completely different direction of what we were going, and get the same balance and maybe a little bit more speed out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that extra set of eyes, just seeing it in a different way, can really open you up a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
So that's really it. We're working on a few other things, but
right.
for now,
that's that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, buddy, good luck. I know you got wedding, race season coming up for both of you and all that stuff. So you got a big year coming up.
Oh yeah, and I hope we have we're gonna probably run about the same amount of races we did last year, but we're gonna shoot for some of these bigger races. We've ran second in a lot of big shows, so I'd really like to get one of them this year.
Yeah. Hang in there. I think you're. Yeah. I think
we're
you're
close.
there. You're there.
All winning is being a consistent top 5 car and getting a little bit lucky.
Yep. Right place at the right time. Good deal. All right. Well, Josh, good luck. Good luck with the wedding and race season and all that stuff. We'll wrap things up with the checkered flag on this session. Slingin Dirt Media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at the track next week. Thanks.